Hey, thanks for watching The Rundown with Ramon. My name is Ramon Ray. In this episode, we talk about Amazon AI. In particular, we talk to AWS scientist and AI evangelist, Dr. Nashley Sephus, and we talk about a few very important things. One, how AI can help your business. Two, 5 simple ways that you can leverage AI in business. And we also talked about humanity and AI and so much more. This might be the best episode yet in the Rundown with Ramon. Check out my discussion with Dr. Nashley Sephus of Amazon AWS. Check it out now. Hey everybody, welcome to The Rundown with Ramon. My name is Ramon Ray, publisher of zoneofgenius.com. Dr. Nashley Sephus, thanks for being here with us today of Amazon and beyond. And I'll let you say your full proper title in a bit, but thank you for being here, Dr. Nashley. I appreciate it and hope you, family and friends and whoever's important in your world, I hope you all are okay today as we do this interview.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. And yes, I'm a principal AI evangelist at Amazon Web Services.
I love that. I love that. I know you travel quite a bit, so I just started a bag carrying company. If you need somebody to follow you around, carry your bag for you, let me know. We can talk about those rates and things.
Yeah, let's talk.
But Dr. Nash, let's get right with it. You wrote an amazing blog post that the Amazon team have sent to me, which I think is really great foundation for half the conversation I want to talk about today. I do want to talk about a little bit the future of AI and humans and all those things that we see in the headlines. I'd like your point of view as an expert in AI and one who represents Amazon, one of the main leaders of this movement. But you said something very interesting there, and I want to start with that, Dr. Nashley. And before I dive into that, I think I want to pause actually and say, how would you want to open this discussion? Before I ask you what was in your blog post, I figured I'd just pause and just say, how do you see AI? How do you see business? If you had 2 minutes, 3 minutes just on a stage and you had to tell us something, what is something Ramon, here's what I always say to the businesses I talk to. Can you start us off just kind of from your heart, where you see the
Yeah,
world we're in?
absolutely. So I actually sit on the responsible AI team at Amazon Web Services, and we focus on several dimensions of that. And so it's very important, especially with the widespread use of AI, with your mom and pop shops, your small business owners, your startups, that they as well are very well in tune with are very well in tune with how to use the technology as well as how to use it in a safe and responsible way. And so I love helping small businesses solve their pain points. Remember, AI is a tool. You use it to solve a problem. And once you figure out where it is that you want to intervene and solve that problem, usually it's that for a lot of other people too, that you can share that solution with. That could even lead to more revenues. And so it's really important for our small businesses to be in tune with what's going on with the AI world as well.
No, I think that's very true. And I think that I love that you said use AI to solve a problem. It's just like the tools we've had. I started out when, before blogging was, people called it blogging, where you save the file, FTP it up. Half my audience has no clue what I'm talking about. But back then we said it's a tool. So, so I love the aspect. It is a
Mhm.
tool. So let's start out right with this. One tip you gave is start with tedious tasks as you're using the power of AI. What does that mean? Unpack that for us, and why is that kind of such an important but such a basic thing? But even using AI, just start with what you may not like or what's tedious. Why'd you say that?
Yeah, so if you think about it, a lot of small business owners and entrepreneurs, they have to wear many hats.
Mm.
So they have to pay attention to their finances. They have to look at, what their product is. They have to look at marketing. They have to understand their customer and getting customer feedback. They also have to plan their day because you may have a family as well. You may be wearing multiple hats or have multiple businesses. It's not uncommon for entrepreneurs to have multiple businesses. And so you have to also manage teams. And so you can use these tools to help you with these tasks that are repetitive, that you rather maybe not spend as much time on, and that will help you get to what you need a lot quicker than you would, so you can move on to other important things. Now, I would like for AI to help me do things like cook dinner and wash dishes, but
Come on.
until we get there, these tools are very helpful for those entrepreneur tedious tasks.
And it will get there. I mean, bots are already around, of course. The headlines have already, rumored, y'all are leaders, right? Amazon's helicopters and all that flying around. But so dishes for you, for me, it's see, I wouldn't have the AI bot do the dishes for me. Dishes for me, I say that today, I find very therapeutic. So I think for, detailing my car. I like to car wash, I like to detail it, but it takes a bit of time. So that's what my bot would do. Yours would do dishes, mine would do detailing of my car.
Yeah, yeah, I say let's do it.
I love that. Number two, I love what you said. Work backwards from your pain points. Kind of
Mhm.
different than just give it the tedious task. What does that mean? Unpack that for us, this aspect of leveraging the power of AI to work backwards from our pain points.
Yeah, so it's very similar to even within our company, Amazon Web Services. We like to solve problems in a working backwards fashion. So
Mm.
imagine what are some of the possibilities and limitations that you want to avoid, and then work backwards. Make sure that you don't get to that point. And so it's very, very similar in terms of small, you pay those employees. So it's important that you also avoid any potential legal issues as well. And so as a business, you don't have a lot of wiggle room. And so making sure you're focusing on those solving those issues that will help everything run more efficiently. That's really where you want to focus because you don't have a lot of time and you can't, as they say, boil the ocean. You can't do everything in a day. So you really have to narrow down and focus on where it is that you want to solve.
And then keep going from there, I guess, meaning start with what the pain is right there and then go out to do more fun things, or those are my words, not yours, but to unpack that just a little bit more. I'm a landscaping business, I have a carpentry business, I have a flower shop. What, when you think back to start back from pain points, just go deeper in that a bit more for me.
Yeah. So, for example, we when we look at different aspects or dimensions of uh, using AI in a responsible way. We're avoiding any hallucinations in the technology. You want to make sure that some of the results are accurate. The results are accurate. We want to make sure that we're not infringing on any intellectual property. And so, if these are huge pain points for you, or even you can break it down even simpler than that. You could say, "Hey, I have trouble managing my time because there's so many tasks to do." And so I have trouble communicating to my customers because I may be good at numbers, but I may not be as great at words or wordsmithing. So you can use these pain points and try to get the tools to help solve that. So you can use AI tools, for example, PartyRock, which is built on AWS's tool set or toolkit for generative AI called Bedrock. You can use this tool to help you summarize emails. You can use it to market or target market certain populations that will help you sell your products a lot easier. You can use it for captions on social media or coming up with blog posts to continue to market yourself and your product. You can help it internally for internal operations. So those are more so for external operations, but for internal operations, you can help it maintain a schedule that you can stick to for your daily, everyday life as an entrepreneur. So those are all things that can help you. If you're battling with these issues, try the AI tools to see if they can help.
I love that. I love that. One of the topic you say, point number three, based on I'm looking here, is always keep a human in the loop. Of course, you and I just said we want to eliminate the human for dishwashing. I'm going to eliminate the human for washing my car, but always keep the human in the loop.
Yes.
What does that mean? And possibly will that be outdated or not needed as time goes on? But help me understand the always keep the human in the loop, which I do understand. Even right now, I do some work and things like that. I do check it, this, that, the other. So human is in the loop, but talk what that means for you and for our businesses.
Right. So uh, we often advise the users to understand the limitations of the technology. And
Mm,
that is, putting yourself as the human in the loop of whatever the process, whatever the combination of products and tools that you're using in terms of generative AI or other types of AI. Agents are a big thing now, agentic
hmm
AI. Know that these systems are only trained on the data that, we gave them. And so it's a matter of, is this a good use case? Is this an intended use case for this tool or not? And sometimes you don't know, so you have to insert yourself to check the outputs, check the prompting. You have to alter your prompting, add more detail to it in order to keep. It's a few tries that you may have to try. It's a very experimental process. And so once you understand that you as the human, you are in control of the tool. And so now the tool may have many functionality and features, but you are at the end of the day the one who is controlling it at the center of it and checking to make sure that you're watching out for all these potential issues and limitations.
I love that. The other point you make, point number 4, then we have point number 5, and I love these tips. Again, Dr. Nashley Sephus with Amazon AWS. Thanks so much for being with us today. Appreciate it. Appreciate you being here on the Rundown with Ramon. Remember, you don't need to be an expert. That may be one of my favorite tips because I think a lot of people, and again, as we do the evolution of technology, I've been in this for about 30 years or so, everybody always thinks, I got to be an expert. And then it's never too late, but they always think, nah, I can't use it. But what I'm hearing you say is, no, you don't have to know this tech to start using it. And then, as we may tell our kids or tell other people, get better and better the more you use it. So this aspect of you don't have to be an expert. Why is that so important?
Yeah, so if you think about it, so for myself, for example, I've been in the AI industry and research industry for over 15 years. And we tried our best to get people to use the technology, but it wasn't at the place where anyone could use it. Well, now we're here. We're at that place where these interfaces are so easy to use. Even my grandmother is using AI. And so when you understand, hey, someone is developing this product for me to use, me specifically, then that user can get on, and we just encourage them to experiment, just try, just see where it can take you. You never know. And then once you kind of get a hang of it, you play around with a few of the models, a few of the tools. Again, PartyRock with AWS is a great tool to get started in building those apps. Then you can go beyond that. You can maybe take a few courses or watch a few videos and then excel beyond that. And of course, I always love to encourage people to just keep going wherever you are. The tools can meet you where you are, and then just go beyond where you are. Just remember the tools are for everyone, and the more you get involved, understanding both the limitations as well as how it can help, the better off you are, especially as an entrepreneur.
I love that. And tell us that tool name again. Let me hear that one more time, please.
Yeah, if you go to partyrock.aws, so party like PARTY, rock ROCK.aws, you can log on and it's free. You can set up an account and just start experimenting, building apps. It uses AI to build AI apps. Imagine that. And so play around with it. There are also a lot of tools on there that you can use that are already been built that use different models. You can experiment with different models. You can understand what's under the hood without having to have a PhD in computer science. And so this is where we are. I want to make sure everyone's taking advantage of these tools.
I love it. I love it. And then the last question you said, and I think we kind of hinted on this, where it goes back to you don't have to be an expert, or the last answer you gave to this question is, so the statement is, experiment with different prompts. And I think that is so powerful because people often ask me, Ramon, how do I use this? How do I use this? Or as a professional speaker, Ramon, how do I speak? Start speaking. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, just get on stage and start doing it. You can always get some input, but the more you do it, the better you are. So I suspect this is one of those bits of advice. But what does this mean? Just, start kind of just experiment with different prompts. Why are you telling people that?
Yeah, because everyone has a different perspective. We're all coming from different backgrounds. And so the way you speak may be different from the way someone else speak, or the way you would, call a particular type of item may be different from another person. But if you start inputting these things and asking the chatbot, these questions and seeing how it responds, you're able to see whether it's correct or it's giving the response that you expect, or if you're happy with the response. And if not, then you continue to add on more detail. What I like to tell people is remember, we used to always say the who, what, when, where, why, or even the how. The more of that you include into your prompt, the better. And I consider educating users, especially those who aren't as tech savvy, about these things so that they can see the power of the technology.
I love this. And I know this is, I shouldn't say I know, but this is kind of out of your direct purview, but just talking, putting the small business owner's hat, Dr. Nashley, is that, many small business owners, they're just trying to get their websites up to date. They're just trying to learn Amazon e-commerce, man, how do I get my products in there? They're just trying to learn, how do I get my better logo? Or they've been, in business for a minute and they're trying to be better leaders to build, to hire better, if you get where I'm at. There's so many. One of my friend Lauren Feldman has a podcast, 21 Hats. We got everything we're doing now. AI, is upon us. And again, it's been out for a while, but it's been made simpler. Any thought from you, what your recommendation is, just, and you may have said it already, but just as we're in that constant flurry of, now I got to learn AI. I thought I was trying to get my website better. I thought I was trying to get search better. I thought I was trying to hire better. Now they're telling me AI. If you've come across that kind of question, what do you tell the people?
Yeah, so funny thing enough, AI can actually help you build your website. If you're looking for content, if you're looking for images and pictures, all of this you can experiment with. Like I mentioned in that,
Mhm.
with that tool, you can actually create these images. I've done a little bit of work with youth and showing them how to use tools to build websites, and it ends up uh, going along very smoothly and being a lot easier than most people think. And so the other benefit to that is now that we have these large language models or these large models that we use inside of these tools and chatbots and image generators, you people are now taking this and building specific AI applications with them. So consider maybe you as a small business again can create your own application with these models, especially leveraging AWS and actually create a product that you may have and able to sell to others. And I think the other side of that is there are so many applications with AI now. AI used to be this separate thing that people used to kind of just hold it in a corner, but it's really a part of everything. It's a part of the healthcare industry. It's a part of the entertainment industry. It's in journalism even. And so it helps people. You think about entrepreneurs, every entrepreneur needs to understand their finances. Every entrepreneur needs to understand how to market. Every entrepreneur has a customer, whether that's a enterprise customer or a small customer or individuals. You have to understand that. Even if you're running a YouTube channel, you have to understand, hey, these are standard things that I can use AI to help me with.
Mhm.
And that's where we want people to think.
I love it. I love that. Powerful, powerful indeed. Again, love this, love this. Taking things beyond the basics. I'm a user of AI. Uh, what am I? I'm telling the Amazon scientist that I'm using AI. Let me rephrase that. I'm trying AI a little bit, but taking things. Can you give us some
No, I
cool?
bet you're a super user. You're just holding
That's true,
out.
super user, but I'm giving you props, giving you props for the work you've done and your colleagues. But can you
Thank you.
tell me any cool things like that may blow my mind, as it were? Meaning, I get the prompts, the basics, got that. Are you seeing examples? What things have you done? Things you've heard other businesses that, Ramon, check this out. Here's something either really, really far in advance cool or just something like, wow, okay, they did it for that business case. If you get what I'm trying to pull out, something beyond
Yeah,
just, hey, I'm going to Vietnam. What are three places I should consider? Okay, we all know how to do that. Give me another
yeah.
example or two beyond the
Yeah,
basics.
so there are so many of these apps that we've built, even myself personally, on that PartyRock tool. In addition to the videos that are on we have a whole playlist of YouTube videos showing small businesses in different areas how to
Mm,
use these tools, and it was amazing just to see their faces light up, and then to see them take over the tool and add more things to it.
mm,
So thinking about merchandising, like how do you put together descriptions for items on a website?
mm,
What are the captions you should use? I mentioned in your social media posts. I like to use it for writing recommendation letters.
mm,
I have a lot of mentees that I mentor, and they're
mm,
they're graduating, they're doing great things, and they need a recommendation letter. You can give inputs into the tool, like a resume, or you can give inputs. Make sure you don't have any personal or private
mm.
information, so make sure you redact that away. But you can also have the tool. summarize papers. So I read a lot of articles and papers. You can say, hey, summarize this in one paragraph, and it helps your day just go a lot
Mhm.
faster. And if you are interested in that article, then once you get that summary, you can read that article, but it just cuts it down from, hey, there's 20 articles here. Which one
Mhm.
should I read? And so those are some of the things that I use it for. I love to use it. We did a video on how to create a technical roadmap. So those business owners that are interested in new ideas and want to see, hey, how do I hire a team to build this app? The tool can help with that as well, because if that's an area you're not as familiar with, it at least is a starting point. But remember, I mentioned again, have that human in the loop. Make sure
Mhm.
you check all the responses before you move forward with that information.
I love it. And help me understand PartyRock and other things that AWS is doing. Maybe also let's go backwards. And can you demystify or explain what is AWS, but more so in relevance to AI? And here's why I say this. I'm just going to use, I don't mention competitive names, but we all know who's out there. Microsoft Copilot, OpenAI, got ChatGPT, you got Google Gemini, et cetera. Is this a direct thing? Hey, and Amazon's version is this, or is it different? Because I know also Amazon and AWS is a cloud platform. Like developers build apps on top of it, but then there's the front-facing little prompts that we're all using. So just can you put that like in a bucket for me, or demystify, or help me explain? Hey, those are this, we're this, or yes, we are those things. If you get the question I'm
Yeah,
asking.
yeah.
Okay.
So if you think about the cloud, some people do still think the cloud is a cloud in the sky, but we think of the cloud as all of these services, or you probably have heard about data centers that hold a lot of data. They store a lot of data that you don't have to store on your local laptop or your local computer anymore. You can put it in the cloud or in these data centers to be able to transfer data a lot faster back and forth, to be able to train models. On the developers like to use it to train models. And then our enterprise customers like to use it for storage and fast computational power. Now, as a small business owner, you may need cloud services for storing pictures.
Mm.
Say you have a lot of pictures or a lot of videos that you're using for marketing. You may want to keep it for that. You may have a lot of financial data, or you may have, it makes it a lot easier to scale up the more and more data that you get. And also, it makes it easier to keep it secure, so that only the people who need access to it have access to it. And so, with this idea, the AWS, Amazon Web Services, there's a little fact: AWS, those web services were built internally for the Amazon store. When the company originally started AWS, it said, hey, this is working really well for us. You think about how many items are saved on the store and sold every day. Now they say, hey, this is working well for us. Maybe we should allow this to be a service for other customers as well. And that's how AWS came about. And so fast forward, now we're in
And
this
so
AI world.
before you jump there,
Oh,
so
yeah.
for example, I'm creating water bottle company, whatever X, and I build my app, push it out to phones, whoever it is, the front facing side. Again, give me grace for terms, but you correct me in a minute. Front facing side,
Yeah.
people can put first name, last name, information in. That part's easy, the front facing. That's just a screen. But now,
Mhm.
if 10 billion, 10 million, 100 million people use it, all the videos we watch or whatever the app may be, it needs a place. And I can buy a whole bunch of hard drives from Best Buy and or from Amazon and have it in my home. But where you
Exactly.
solve this cloud is that unlimited, quote unquote, billions of people can scale and be on your cloud services, and the programmatic, the program can be on there too. And that's kind of at a layperson where Amazon AWS comes in to store all that infrastructure there on your side, as you all do for the services that we buy all the time. Is that, did I reframe that 80%, 90% right? Is that
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah, no, that's generally how it works. And you mentioned having to buy a bunch of hard drives. Like I grew up in the age of dial-up on a computer when internet was so slow.
Yes.
To download one song or to listen to one song would take like hours,
Right.
right? And so we're so far ahead from where that is, and that just took it to another level, which actually made way for us being able to train large language models and make AI more accessible and usable for people. And so now that we're in this world, we're able to you as an entrepreneur or a small business owner, you can decide, hey, I just want this amount of space, small amount of space, and you're able to only pay for that amount of space versus buy an entire server and
Right.
you're only using a small bit of it, for the next year, and now may not have, needed to buy that much. Or say you're a business that's growing very fast, you
Mhm.
bought a server, and now 2 months later, your business is doing so well, you need more room and more space, and now you have to buy it all again, set it up, and now you have to lock it down, secure it. Well, you can do that with the click of a button with Amazon Web Services.
I love that. Great. So now we know AWS, the cloud, and I knew some of that, but I just wanted to get the context of that. So now where does
Mhm.
AI come in? We mentioned all the people, all the brands and all the things I mentioned. We going on the prompts, Park Rock, PartyRock, and other things that Amazon's doing. Where does that now fit in the AI world we're in?
Yeah, so I like PartyRock because it's a nice user interface. So a lot of the technology for AI has been, I mentioned existence. I've been in the world for over 15 years,
Wow.
being able to train models, but we are at a better place to be able to scale and make it more accessible because of I mentioned the cloud services,
Mhm.
being able to store more data, transport data a lot faster with the internet, and then also uh, being able to have a very nice user-friendly interface for these tools. So PartyRock is essentially that for AWS.
Got
Now
it.
we have a tool underneath that, which is actually called Bedrock. So if you're more on the development side, software developer, you're going to want to probably use that more so than PartyRock, but that's our interface. One thing I like about PartyRock versus some of the other chatbot AI tools out there is that PartyRock actually has you build apps within your browser. The other tools, you're more so just chatting back and forward with it, but you can build these apps, save the app. So, for example, my article summary app, I can just click on that and reuse it whenever I want, and it saves it under my account, my free account. Now, you can create so many, I think I have maybe 30 or so apps that I've built, and a lot of them are actually available and publicly available when you go and search on the PartyRock website. But you can create these apps, which is different from most other generative AI tools, and it actually aids you in developing that app.
Got it. That is powerful. The big question of the day, well, there's a lot of questions today, but one question, humans and AI. Um, where do you stand? Where does Amazon stand? However you wish to answer it. They could be one of the same or personally, but is AI dangerous? Is it not dangerous? One day there was a Bruce Willis movie, I think, where him and his wife and others in the town, they were just in these pods excuse me, laying there, while stuff went on around them. They were just, out. They
Yep.
were like avatars or something like that. So,
Mhm.
where do you stand? Is AI dangerous? Is it not? Is it, we shall see. Who knows? What do you think? You're the scientist who's been doing this. We just got knowing this a year or two. Where do you stand? Where do you see this going?
Yeah, so I love to say that every AI tool has risk associated with it. You just have to understand what those risks are and make sure you have a way to mitigate those risks if they happen. You also have some risks that are more critical than others. And so when you reframe it as is AI safe, you understand how do I mitigate risk of AI, then you're in a better position. And so you can be prepared for, again, concerns in the technology, such as we look at things like biases in data, fairness. We look at privacy and security. We look at how well can you control the behavior of the AI. We look at robustness. Is it hallucinating? Is it actually giving true results? So we call that veracity. And so with all these things, how do you govern yourself accordingly to make sure that you're looking out for all of these potential risks that can happen, and understanding that not every AI is built equally and not every AI is intended for your use case. And so when you understand that, you'll be better off. I also forgot one thing to mention about the PartyRock tool or even Amazon Bedrock. What it allows you to do is use more than just one model
Mm.
to choose from. So Amazon has their own large language models, but we also allow you to compare that within the same platform and utilize other models such as Anthropic's Claude or Anthropic Sonnet. There are many other large language models out there too, but it's all within the same app, that same platform. So you can actually experiment with different large language models. Different models essentially have different personalities. They can speak different languages. And that's not to be confused with, you can actually create different personas when you're using large language models. Like, do you want it to respond as if it were a teenage girl, or do you want it to respond as if it were, a college professor? And so those are different things to keep in mind when using the technology.
I love it. I think if you and I were AI bots, yours would be super, super smart and calm. Mine would be, mine would be thinking he's hilarious and fast moving. I think those would be our two, and we'd blend them together
Yep.
and save the world. We'd be two superheroes.
There you go. I love it.
Dr. Nashley, it's been so good being with you. Just saying, I have so many questions, but you've answered them so, so well. Oh, agentic AI. Break that down for the people. And again, I understand it to some degree, but thank you for explaining to us cloud. We got that. AWS. Okay. Now we understand AI. Many of us are using it, just started, a year or two. How many of us are using it? We get AI, we put some prompts in and or do what we're doing here to understand our data. But then you got this agentic, this agent stuff with all the headlines. What is agentic AI, and does it even matter to any of us business owners?
Yeah, so I always think that staying in the know about the latest and greatest state of the art technologies is important for everyone, regardless of what field you're in or what business you're in. And so when we say the term agents or agentic AI, it is pertaining to a certain type of technology under the AI umbrella. And so when we talk about traditional AI, we're training a model to do a specific task using a specific data set, such as I want to train a model that helps me avoid my car moving into another lane.
Perfect.
And so I can train different lanes, different streets, and that particular task is a lot easier to manage. You know the data that was created. Now, when we move into generative AI, that is a model, we call those large language models, that are trained on a lot of different types of data. You often don't understand or don't know as a user exactly what data it was trained on, but it's intended to train on a lot of data so they can do a lot of different tasks that it may be prompted to do. Now, agentic AI is slightly different in that oftentimes you don't need a prompt in order for it to take some action. Agentic AI is composed of three components. It can perceive something is happening. It has this, we call this cognition, which it actually thinks of what to do and what is happening. And then it responds with some response or result. You can imagine an example. If I have, so we talked about those bots, for example, at a restaurant. If I'm drinking water and I put my glass of water down and my glass is getting low, and a waiter agent can perceive my water is getting low, it will then say, hey, I think she's drinking water. It will bring water to the table and pour water into my glass. And so that's the difference between agentic AI, generative AI, and traditional AI.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And I'm just curious, just going on that again. I'm asking questions that I have no clue even how to ask. But you, the AI person, so I know you can, and the scientist, you can help me demystify it. But what I'm trying to ask is, how does that different than Boolean? How does that different than just math? A laser or something seeing water's low, gook, trips a switch, metaphorically, and more fills into it. You get what I'm asking? Maybe that is the same thing, but is there a difference between agentic AI and like Boolean, or just simple stuff that, elevator goes down, when this button's hit, stop it. That's not AI. That we've had that since George Washington. The difference between those kind of things, right. You know what I mean?
So actually, if you first look up where the term artificial intelligence came from, it dates back to, I think, the early 40s or 50s. If you look up the Alan Turing test, and it was AI was basically, can you fool the human into thinking that it's an actual person on the other side rather than a computer? And it would ask questions like, hey, how are you? And it would respond with, I'm doing well. How about yourself? And so all of that was coding saying, if they ask, hey, how are you doing? Respond with, I'm doing fine. How are you? And we call that logic based programming.
Perfect.
And so
Yes.
it's either if this, then this. And
Mhm.
it's a rule based platform. We call it rule based. Now, AI is different in that it takes a lot of patterns that it's learning and data that is trained on so that it can make several decisions without us having to hard code that decision level making into that system. So with agentic AI, no one is actually training it to say, I mean, there's no explicit rule that says if you see this, fill the glass with water. Because what if it's soda in my glass? You know, what if it's alcohol in my glass? You know, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so you want these things to happen automatically based on the data that is learning the
Wow.
patterns from.
I love it. So, and part of it is, and again, I'm going to stop because I'm already feeling myself getting sweaty as I'm trying to go to another level here. But part of it is also the genius of it is the auto learning as well, right? Is that, oh, automatically it's knowing Dr. Nashley said, no, thank you. All this stuff, let me put together like a chessboard. Okay, now I know for Dr. Nashley, she said no, thank you during this. When she comes again, is that kind of layperson-ish? That's where AI starts to get versus logic. Logic, you have to train AI. It's already understanding. Dr. Nashley said no refill in this case and moving forward. Is that something like that? Is that about right? Or
Yeah, because if we had to sit and program hard code everything based on a rule, you would be there sitting there for a whole lifetime,
got it?
right?
Mhm.
And so you wanted to automatically learn these things a lot quicker. Even 5, 10 years ago, to train one traditional AI model would take weeks to train. Now we're able to train them in a matter of minutes of the same models. And these models they can do things, like I say, in the healthcare space, they can do things in the entertainment space, they can analyze data. I meant to mention earlier that as a small business, you can use these tools to analyze your spreadsheets and your
Yes.
financial data and your patterns and your sales data. And it is a very great tool for doing those things. And now you have to do, again, the experimentation, figure out which model works best for you. You can do all of this in those tools. But it is a great tool once you figure it out and have that app the way that you want it, getting the outputs that you want, and you've actually checked and verified this yourself as the human in the loop. You've solved your pain point.
I love it. Dr. Nashley, anything I didn't ask you, and again, I'm hoping you and our mutual friends will let us have another conversation because I'm sure a lot more will be coming in the days that you can help me unpack for audience. But anything I didn't ask, anything on your mind that you wanted to express, and if not, it's been just great having you, but I'll give you a chance to answer that before we conclude.
Yeah, and so I think I bring a very unique perspective being having been a applied scientist at Amazon, getting into the evangelist role at Amazon Web Services, also having been the CTO of a startup myself that successfully was acquired by Amazon, and then also taking it back to my hometown and in the communities. I'm originally from Jackson, Mississippi, and helping with this AI literacy in our communities. And so I think that's just as important. I know the current administration has even created executive orders to encourage AI literacy across the board. And so I think those things are very important as well as we're training up the future of these AI developers and AI users.
I love this. Dr. Nashley Sephus with Amazon AWS, Amazon Web Services. Thank you so much for being here today with us on the Rundown with Ramon. Appreciate you so very much.